Good afternoon and welcome to The Balkan is Talking. And with me this afternoon for Mental Health Monday is Lorraine Purcell. Thank you for joining us again, Lorraine, on Mental Health Monday.
Hi, Dee. It's so good to be with you again.
Lorraine, you join us every Monday afternoon at 1 o'clock for The Balkan is Talking for Mental Health Monday. Tell us, Lorraine, what keeps you busy?
Lots keeps me busy. I would say my own personal journey keeps me busy. My own personal journey. I am always in a growth pattern myself, and I tend to attract people who are on a growth pattern also. And so my clients and I explore together just what it means to be a human on the planet in our human condition, with feeling all the pain that we will feel and all the discomfort that we feel and all the joy that we feel. And wow, what do we do with all these feelings? Mm-hmm. And go ahead.
You've said before in our visits that we just need to let those emotions just flow through us. And whenever we're going through those icky, yucky times of those emotions going through us, to be gentle with ourselves. And I am reminded of that so many times. I've thought about that and thought of those words of wisdom you've had for us in previous visits. Be gentle with yourself when you're going through that stuff.
Yeah, and thanks for the reminder for me today, because I'm having a bit of a rough patch. I've had some sad things with some clients, and so I'm just going to be gentle with myself. Mm-hmm. I'm not feeling my tippy top, most happiest self today, but
I think that being a counselor would be when you're going through a rough spot yourself, and to try to uplift others would be kind of a hard thing.
And what I am in those times is I'm just present with it, or else I can just set it aside and just be present with the person. But if I can't move it aside, then I'm just in it. And I think that must be a gift for the session. Mm-hmm.
To let our weaknesses, to let those bless others and just help others.
Yeah. Just say, this is, a little bit of what I'm going through today. I can't quite shake it. And here we are. But usually, I'm able to go, I don't know, just something happens where I just go into professional mode and... Mm-hmm. And then I'm just right there with the other person.
Kind of like the way radio broadcasting is for me. I mean, some mornings when I come in to do the morning news at 5 a.m. here at the radio station, it's not a real good morning. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people aren't at their best that time of the day, but you go into professional mode and you just do. Yeah. You just do it.
Yeah. And then when you just act as if, it's like something just lifts you up and takes you someplace else. And that's what I've really found.
So in one of your most recent articles, Lorraine, it's titled, "I Rejected Me." And one thing that really jumped out to me, you quoted Shakespeare. And you said, "To thine own self be true."
Yeah, I think that's really our journey, is to really be true to ourselves and know our own heart, know what our desire is, know what it is that we're wanting and needing, because ultimately we are all we have. We are all that we have. We can think we have other people, and we can and we can't. We're really left with ourselves. And so if we fall in love with ourselves, and that is what I think Shakespeare is talking about, to thine own self be true. Because you think about being true to a lover, or true to a country, or true to a religion. But if you're true to yourself, you're able to be a beaming light, really. And so it's feeding that inner source, like fueling our, not fooling, but fueling our inner stove, so that we can give, because there will be always moments when we're alone. Yeah.
So let's talk more about that. We're going to take a quick time out, Lorraine. And when we come back, let's talk more about Shakespeare's quote, "To thine own self be true," and how we can be true to ourselves.
I love that.
We'll talk more about that when the Balkan is Talking returns with Lorraine Purcell on Mental Health Monday, right after these messages. Welcome back to The Bakken is Talking with Lorraine Purcell on Mental Health Monday. And when we left off before the break, Lorraine, we were talking about a Shakespeare quote that you referred to in one of your recent columns, "To thine own self be true." You know, each one of us is on a life journey. And each one of us has a path that is unique to us individually. No one else has that kind of path. Mm-mm. Each one of us has a different path that we have to walk in life. Is that hard for us to do? Is it hard to be brave? Is it hard to be brave enough to walk that path?
Well, I think it is, Dee. I think it's really challenging to walk that path because we've got the media, we've got friends, we've got peer pressure, we've got all these things that are just pouncing down on us. And the pressure is intense to look a certain way and act a certain way and be a certain way when, you know, it really takes the ultimate courage to be who you really are and to be true to yourself. And until we find that sweet spot, we really don't have a whole lot to offer, and least of all to ourselves. Because until we've done that, we've abandoned ourselves. And a lot of us, I think in this generation of young parents parenting children, they are more enlightened and more not abandoning their children by hearing them and letting them express themselves. But in the generations past, in my generation, even myself parenting my son, I know that I did that to him to a certain degree. You know, I was like, oh, I don't want to hear that from you, you know. And then I watched my son and daughter-in-law and the people that they're associated with, they don't abandon their children. They let their children have their feelings and let them be heard and let their voice come out. And so those of us of our generation and the generation above and many of the generations below, we have abandoned ourselves because our families abandoned ourselves, because they abandoned themselves and their parents abandoned them. So it's just we've come into a new enlightenment about how to let people, you know, how important it is to have our voice heard and for ourselves to hear our voice. And lately, this is what I've been working with my clients on a lot is don't abandon yourself. Acknowledge your own feelings. Speak your truth. It's so important to speak your truth. And if two people are speaking their truth, then at least you've got it on the table. And that's without attacking the other person and letting the other person be defensive. It's not about that. It's just about, you know, I feel this. Or you might not want to go there, but know yourself and know what you're feeling inside and go, you know, I don't know that I want to stir up that pot. But at least I know what I'm feeling in this certain situation. And we are in the Earth School. Bless it.
Yes, we are. And sometimes it's a school of hard knocks. When you say abandon, now you've said quite a few times the word abandon, abandoning ourselves, and past generations have done that. When it comes to parenting, can you explain that a little bit more? What do you mean by abandoning our feelings, our true feelings, or how do you mean that to work in as far as parenting?
Abandoning is when you ignore yourself. And it's like when we ignore our children, when they're acting in a way that we don't like, so we ignore them or we punish them. And because that was done to us, that's what we do to our children. And that whole thing about abandoning, because it was done to us and it's so deep in our makeup, then when we don't like meet the status quo or act just like we think we're supposed to, or, you know, fit in with the peer group or whatever, we begin to reject ourselves and we just try to be like everybody else. But in that, we've left our true selves behind. If you can have this picture of maybe, you know, one part of you going forward with a group and the other part of you being left behind, that was like, wait a minute, I don't really want to do that. I don't feel comfortable with that. But I'm letting that part of me go, but there's this other part of me that's being abandoned and left behind. It's like if you would abandon a dog, or you would abandon a cat, or you would abandon a child when they're having feelings and you're not there and you're not present with them. Does that make it a little more clear? Sorry for the psycho speak.
It's just, it makes it a little bit clearer that we're not being true to ourselves
Well,
and the feelings that we're having.
I think that your question is so profound because I think a lot of us don't even realize that we're doing it. A lot of us don't even realize that we have left ourselves behind back on the back 40 while we've charged ahead in this career, we've charged ahead with family, we've charged ahead with children. And, where are we in the mix? And so many people are just left soulless because they don't even know who they are. And maybe these things just kind of fell on them and they fell into it. And golly, there is a moment of reckoning and awakening that will happen often in midlife, or, sometimes people have their pre-midlife, or there will be a trauma or a crisis that will come into their life. Mine happened in my early 30s, when I had my midlife crisis then, when everything in my world just exploded and I had to go, wait, where am I in this? Who am I?
So most people do come to that point in their life.
Yeah. If they don't, then they wind up just being soulless, and people don't really enjoy their company because there's not an authenticity running through them.
When we come back, we have to take a quick time out, Lorraine. But when we come back, let's talk about what to do at that point when that happens. Can we talk about
Absolutely.
that? And how we go forward. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Lorraine Purcell on Mental Health Monday. The Bakken is Talking returns right after this. Welcome back to Mental Health Monday with Lorraine Purcell on this Monday afternoon. We're talking about, Lorraine, being true to ourselves and reaching a point in our lives when we have to kind of take inventory. And everyone kind of reaches a point where we have to take inventory of our life.
Well, I think we realize at that moment that we are alone. And I think is that called existentialism? I don't know. But we are alone. You come into the world alone, you leave the world alone. We're never really alone because we're surrounded by God and spirit and angels and, the heavenly host, really. And, but we feel alone. And so it is at those moments when you have to ask yourself, what is it that I really want? What is it that I really want? If I didn't please mother, father, brother, sister, pastor, president, boss, all this stuff, who am I inside? And that thing is what is the core of our authenticity.
And you know what, Lorraine, for some people that is so hard to identify. What do I want and who am I? Who am I? Who is this person inside me? One of my favorite movies is What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And there comes a point in that movie with Johnny Depp that he's asked by a friend, tell me what you want as fast as you can. Tell me what you want. And he had to pause. He couldn't think of what he wanted in life and how he was feeling. And I think some of us come to that point. We don't even know what we want in life. We don't know how we really feel. Do you think some of us just come to that where we are just not feeling anything?
That's abandonment. We've abandoned ourselves so much that we don't even know our own feelings. We don't even know who we are.
And at that point, then what do we do? That's a dangerous place, and that's kind of a dangerous place to be in, isn't it?
It's not really, because it's a starting point. And I think it's actually one of the most positive points of a life, because you can go, okay, I can't get any further down than this. I feel pretty crappy right now. So let's begin. What do I want? And what often happens is that there is a dream down there that we denied, or someone told us we couldn't have, we couldn't be, we couldn't do. And that's the beginning. It goes back to maybe an early reckoning of who you were as a little child. Were you winsome? Were you playful? Were you happy? Were you just laughing? What were those things about you? Let's do that again. And then what were the things as you got a little bit older that you wanted to do and you dreamed of doing? Did you dream of being on the stage? Did you dream about influencing the world? Did you dream about having a family? What were those dreams? And begin to say yes to yourself in those dreams. And, you know, I have my weekly tools, and the tool I wanted to share this week was 2 questions. And when you find yourself in this point of where you have abandoned yourself and now you're left with a shell of a person, perhaps, ask these 2 questions. What else is possible? What else is possible? When you say that question, you're asking, you're signaling universe that you're open to something new, something different. So what else is possible? As soon as you ask that question, things start to get lighter. We've talked about this before on the show, that when you ask yourself a question like, whose thought is this? It'll get light and go away, or it'll stay heavy. And if it's light and goes away, it's somebody else's thought that's been put on you. And we've incorporated 80 to 90% of our own thoughts. We think are ours, they're not ours. It's our programming.
I had to ask myself that question just this week when I was having negative thoughts. Where are these thoughts coming from?
Did they lighten up?
They did.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And we just buy it. You know, like we've got all these thought frequencies going through the air, and they just kind of like try to find homes, and the vibrations match up like electricity. And I don't know much about electricity, so I might be speaking out of my turn. But
well, when those negative thoughts come to me, my reaction is that I feed them at the very beginning, and I start having a video in my mind, and I start having preconceived ideas of how the situation is going to unfold when it hasn't even happened.
Yes.
And then at that point, I had to ask myself, where is this negative thought coming from? I'm not going to receive it, and I'm not going to entertain it anymore because it hasn't even happened. So the tool, you said, number 1, ask what else is possible.
What else is possible? And you're asking it to yourself. You're asking it to universe. You're just saying the question. If you have no one to say it to, that's okay. You just say, what else is possible? You're just signaling to the universe that you want something different. What is another possibility here? Because we live in a universe of possibilities. The second question, and this is an amazing question, how does it get better than this? How does it get better than this? If you're at the bottom of the barrel, something's going to cycle around. How does it get better than this? How does it get better than this? If you're at the top of the world, more good is going to come to you. So no matter what, with that question, it's just going to elevate you and elevate you and elevate you. And if you can train yourself to say that question several times in a day, how does it get better than this? What else is possible? It kind of gets us out of that little eddy that we kind of get ourselves swirling in a stuck spot in a stream rather than
we do. We get stuck.
Yeah,
Lorraine.
And then all the other garbage in the river comes on over and hangs out with us.
And so many people, and I came to a point in my life where I had to ask, how do I get unstuck? And do we get stuck again and again and again? Because I got unstuck. I kind of had to take inventory of my life and make some changes. But sometimes I feel like I'm getting stuck all over again.
I think we do. I think we get stuck over and over and over again. And we just become more and more aware. Oh, I'm stuck again. This doesn't feel good. Okay, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? Who am I? What do I really want? And you start going back through all of those questions and doing inventory. Like Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. And there are other quotes too, like the unexamined life is not worth living. I think that was Plato or some Greek person that said that. Sorry for being so vague. But the unexamined life is not worth living. And I think that's because unless you do examine your life and examine your feelings and examine who you really are and are willing to step apart from the crowd and be alone and make a statement, or not make a statement, but make a statement to yourself. No, thank you. I don't feel like doing that. I'm going to just do this. Because you know who you are and what you're up to and what your purpose is and what your gifts are. And these are the things that will start to come to you in time as you continue to practice this. But we do get stuck over and over again to remind us that, okay, we lost our soul a little bit right there. Mm-hmm. Okay, we need to get back.
Is this and this is an age relative? Is not
I
age
don't believe
dependent?
So.
It's not age dependent.
I don't believe so. I think
you said in your early 30s. It was in my mid 40s.
And it really actually happened to me all the way from being a youth. I never did quite fit in, so I learned to be alone growing up. And even though I was popular and people liked me, I didn't really like what they were doing. I didn't feel good about them making fun of people and being mean to people, and just the effort that it took to fit in with that group and stuff. I just couldn't do it.
So early on, you knew that you had you were unique, and you were, as you said, you say in your column, "I rejected me." You say we think we are weird, we think we're awkward, and we probably are.
Yeah.
These are your words, but our weirdness actually is our personal signature, our offering to the world. Can we bring it out? Can we offer it? Are we brave enough? And that's how you started out the column, "I Rejected Me." And I would just, if you haven't read it, folks, take a look at the column, and every Friday, actually, I'm gonna plug your column here.
Thank you.
A positive mental note with Lorraine Purcell every Friday in the Williston Herald. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back for a final segment with Lorraine Purcell on The Bakken is Talking. And Lorraine, you'll give us your contact information and all kinds of good information on how people can, if they need to contact you or if they want to know more.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll
great.
do that when The Bakken is Talking returns after this. Welcome back to The Bakken is Talking. It's Mental Health Monday. And Lorraine, I just think it's appropriate that this being our first visit in 2014, when a lot of folks make New Year's resolutions, I really don't get into that. What I like to do is just look forward into the new year with hope, and look back, just looking at maybe all the changes that I went through in life, and I've come through it. We've come through all those changes, and now we're moving forward into a new year. I like the way our conversation is going here on this program, about being true to ourselves, especially as we start a new year, as we go forward into 2014. How we can do that and not abandon our true emotions and abandon our true feelings.
And, just as you were saying that, Dee, it just hit me that where we need to be gentle with ourselves is for 2013 and 2012 and 2011 and 2010. And just know that all of those years that went behind us and all the things we did our best. If we could have done more, we would have done more. If we could have done differently, we would have done differently. And now, with sending love into the past and love to ourselves for everything that we've done and everything we've tried to accomplish, let's go forward to 2014. And actually, I do have a class coming up at Williston State College called Get What You Want in 2014.
Great.
And that's going to be on Saturday, January 18th from 10 in the morning until 1:30 in the afternoon. We're going to be going through exercises, establishing what it is that you want, how to set up visualization of that, how to set timelines for it, and how to just really set yourself up to get what you want this next year.
You have so many positive tools for us, Lorraine, and this is just one of them.
Thank you.
And we were talking before the break. You had some tools of the week for us. Now, these two questions: what else is possible? And I think this would be appropriate for each one of us to ask as we begin a new year. What else is possible in 2014 in our lives, and how does it get better than this?
Yes, and I'd like to challenge the listeners. What else is possible? But what else is possible for you as a human being to grow in whatever way you need to grow? Not just the status quo, but what is it that you really, really want to get your soul back? We have a society that has sick souls.
We do.
And don't be one of them. Start reclaiming yourself. Start taking that little child that is you back in your arms and asking it, what do you need from me right now? I just need you to listen to me. Okay, I'm listening. I'm hearing.
And Lorraine, is it hard? I think sometimes for moms, for wives and mothers to focus on themselves because they're so used to giving and focusing on others.
Yeah. Yeah. And, they're going to go away. Those people are going to go away. And so I know this started hitting me when my son was 14. I realized he was going to be leaving in 4 years, and I started freaking out because my son has been the love of my life. And I ran to counseling. I'm like, I got to get a life. And that's when I finished my bachelor's degree. I got into my master's program, and I got a great big life so that my son wouldn't feel guilty when he left and had to go to his great big life.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things came to me, epiphanies came to me at that point.
So how do folks, if they want to get in touch with you, Lorraine, give us all the information that we need to either contact you or to take advantage of all of those tools that you give us to help us?
Well, I'm happy to say that LorrainePurcell.com is finally up and running. The articles are on there. The former radio shows are on there. So that's LORRAINE, as in Paul, URS as in Sam, ELL.com. There's a little box in the upper right-hand corner that says uplift your inbox, and you'll get the download for the recording of the radio show. You'll get Mental Health Monday. You'll get the article, the Friday Herald, the Herald article, and something I call Parent Mission. That'll come to your inbox every week. That's for free. And you'll also be able to see the events and where I'm speaking.
Such as the one that's coming up in January
Yes.
at Williston State College, January 18th, I think you
January
said.
18th, yes.
And what's the name of that workshop again?
Get What You Want in 2012. I'm sorry, 2014.
Okay.
Time is a continuum. I got
I
stuck.
tell you,
stuck in
time
2012
is
there.
marching on, and it's hard to believe that it will be 2014.
Also, my phone number is 808-936-4370.
Okay, one more time with your phone number so we can get that in case folks are getting a pencil and paper.
Sure, 808-936-4370.
We've got a couple of minutes left, Lorraine. How would you, final words or thoughts?
Just love yourself, because until we love ourselves, we're empty, we're hollow. Unless we really truly love ourselves and fall in love with ourselves and our weirdnesses and our uniquenesses. And other people can't love us until we love ourselves. That's a tall order in the United States,
Why?
because we're a materialistic, outward-looking, external locus of control society. Sorry for the big word, but that means looking outside of ourselves for validation instead of looking inside of ourselves for validation.
Wow, that's
Am I happy with what I did? Am I happy with what I said? Am I happy with how I'm acting here? Am I happy with,
no matter what others think,
no matter what they
or
think?
how they react, or what impresses others, or am I happy with
Yes.
with myself?
Yes.
That is so good, Lorraine. And I appreciate you for coming in this afternoon for a visit with us.
Thanks,
Lorraine
Dee.
Purcell with us on Mental Health Monday on the Bakken is Talking. And we're going to have to say goodbye for now. We sure hope you'll join us each Monday afternoon on the Bakken is Talking with Lorraine Purcell for Mental Health Monday. We've got to go now, take a break for news and more programming coming up next on the new Keys AM